24th at 2:07 p.m. Thank you for your patience. If you've not signed the roll in the back of the room, right there by the door, please do so. First regular agenda item is to approve the assessor approved process report.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, item 2, approve or deny class change from primary to secondary residential.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, and approve or deny class change from primary to secondary.
So moved.
Second that.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Approve or deny class change secondary residential to primary residential.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, item 5, approve or deny 2025 annual statement for continued property tax exemption for Brigham Young University.
Hello again.
Back.
Good to see you all. Eric Busaith, Brigham Young University, Assistant University Tax Manager. I brought some more information back to the committee as requested. Talked to this engineering department, various other people. Hopefully I have more details. I think I left a couple letters there and some more information on planning, consolidation estimates, things like that. So BYU's plan is to the old dentist office and the apartment buildings will be consolidated with the existing Provo High School property. I gave a list of serial numbers that they're going to consolidate and combine together. That should be done by no later than June 30th, the end of June. They're going to do a quick claim deed to combine all those together. And then along BYU with some Brigham Young University students have made demolition plans for the existing dentist office and the apartment complex to have those demolished. They're going to start with the asbestos. There's this asbestos problem there that they got to take care of first. And then they're going to have those consolidated. The asbestos removal is going to start in May, and then demolition summer of 2025. And then restoration work should also be completed in summer of 2025. And then on the Ironton properties, they're going to also consolidate those by no later than June 30th. They're also having the recordings also going to be completed by that time. They've also just now starting to move equipment. They staged equipment into the area to prepare the area for containers, large containers. I think there's a map in there where they're potentially going to put those containers. They've also opened up the fence between the asphalt and the so that they can move equipment back and forth until those are, to the consolidated properties. They're also going to put another little section of fencing. I think that's going to be done at the end of May. That's also on that map. And they're also going to bring other storage in by summer of 2025. Then let's see, anything else I missed? That's the majority of it, but in that letter it explains a little more if there's missing details. But do you have any questions for me?
I don't. Do you have any questions? Staff? Okay.
I don't think we have any issues at this point now.
Okay. Your comfort level good on this, Commissioner Gardner?
Yeah, I mean, as long as we're to the point that we feel it's irrevocable or that we've got those permits, I'm good to make a motion to approve item number 5.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
That's approved. Thanks, Eric. Okay, moving to item 6, approve or deny 2025 annual statement for continued property tax exemption, rural housing development.
And Mr. Chairman, just to clarify one thing, we're asking Mr. Bishop there were several parcels of vacant ground that we're asking them to just cover what the plans are because we didn't see any kind of development or anything going on with them. So we just needed the rural housing folks to give us some greater clarity on that before we could remove any questions for this application. And Gina from my office can give greater information after Mr. Bishop presents what he needs to present. So there you go.
Okay, very good. Brad Bishop with Self-Help Homes. I'm the executive director there. There is a list of properties that they were sent over. I also had a couple of new applications in this year that were denied and wanted to talk about those as well. So I'll just go down the list. So on the first serial number 0017, that's our building that we work in. So that's been exempt for 15 years since we've purchased that property. The second serial number 0035 is in Salem. This is a subdivision that has not been recorded. We submitted the plat in January of this year. All the improvements are in for that subdivision. Just waiting for all we needed is the recorded plat. And so it's been sitting on a desk, but we've found out that yesterday when we met with the city that they made the changes. They're submitting it on Monday or Friday to be submitted by the city to the county. So, but again, 100% of the improvements are in. It's passed in final inspections for that. 0049, this one is in Payson. We purchased this property about around 3 years ago. We bought it with some HUD funding. It had passed an environmental review with Provo City, who conducts the environmental.
Payson City?
Actually, Provo City. They
Provo,
administer, kind of like the county administers CDBG funds, Provo administers home funds.
Oh, gotcha.
And CDBG. I guess long story short on that, no improvements on that property. The intent was to purchase the environmental HUD. Came back and found a discrepancy and had been reviewing it. Now it doesn't pass. We're trying to figure out how to make the property work. We're in between administrations right now. So that is one that we put on a new application though. So, and maybe if I can defer that and group all the new applications and address them at the end here.
Okay.
So you can understand. Number 0014, or I'm sorry, 0114. This is in Salem. This is a fully improved subdivision. We've actually built all the homes in the subdivision except for 7 lots. The 7 lots had a strawberry utility line overhead in the building lots. Long story short, they after 4 or 5 years of working between them and the lawsuits they had with the 2 cities there, they moved the line about 3 weeks ago. So we'll put that in line for groups to be in the program. But again, those are fully developed lots, so they meet the tax exemption and still continue with that purpose for the exclusively for the charitable purpose. Let's see, 0070. So these are, we had 4 phases in this subdivision. The first 2 phases have been developed and they're all built on. In fact, we just started 4 of the last units in the previous plats about 2 months ago. And so, but the J&K have not been developed. We've put in infrastructure to those properties. We're still working with the city as far as lifting a sewer on that. Probably the biggest reason we've delayed these is with all the properties we have, we do use federal funding. We do have to meet all their timelines. And so we've had to jump to some of these other ones like Northfield and other ones we'll be talking about today to meet their timelines so they don't pull the funds back from us. Anyways, if you have any further questions on that, I can give documentation on that, but that's kind of where we're at on that. So the next 7 are the Northfield lots. Actually, maybe I'm sorry. So the description I gave you for 0114, they're two phases of the same subdivision. So those 7 lots are what I described earlier. They're developed, has a Strawberry utility line on. The phase 2 of that has 10 undeveloped lots. They're not platted yet. They're planned. We have utilities going in, stubbed into the property, similar to Orchard Farms. This one's going to be a delayed project until the neighbor, because right now we'd have to share a roadway in front of them, and until the neighbor develops, we won't be able to do anything with that property. So we'll finish the other 7 lots, and then we're on hold until that we can work with that property owner who's still, it's in agriculture right now, owned by kids. And then the last one is the personal property. So I'm not sure why that one and the building was on, but we are 100% nonprofit charitable for affordable housing.
Okay. Thanks.
As far as the new applications, there was 3 that were denied at the last meeting. A couple of years ago, when we came in, we were told that we could put in for an abatement. I always forget the term here, but an administrative waiver or abatement of on these taxes if we submit in August after the tax rolls come out. So we submitted one a couple of years ago for that, as well as those 3. And so we'll be submitting that again in August, but I guess, I don't know if those have to be addressed at this time, but been working with, no, we don't? Okay. But anyway, some of those that don't have the development improvements on it, we would still like to try to that administrative waiver if we resubmit that
Okay.
for the fall.
All right. We might have some more questions for you, Brad, but
Great.
let's see.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hang tight. Gina.
Gina Case with the auditor, and Bert, if you could share my screen. We'll just go through what, do I share it? Okay. I don't like my mouse. Right there. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so this is just a list of what he just went through, plus there's a personal property account. And then okay. And then just to clarify, we have 3 properties, serial numbers, that are currently vacant, and they don't seem to they don't have any curb and gutter, which is kind of the standard for what in the past has been approved. If there's curb and gutter improvements,
Can you go
then
back on the text?
this
So are these the Payson? I'm sorry.
49, 114, and 70.
17 says, I think you said Salem.
Those are all
That's
in
not on
Salem?
there. Sorry, excuse
Yeah,
me.
Salem.
0070.
Okay, I talked about 49.
49's Payson.
Okay, I'm with you now.
49
Thank you.
Payson.
So just a reminder, vacant land is typically not exemptable through this process. And that does apply through Guideline 1, which we talked about last meeting as well. So this is 29, 23, 49, just a shot of what that looks like now. So there's no curb and gutter. And then if you look at the plat, it's this right here that shows just the area that this particular parcel takes in. Then we have 32, 114, again, we just have some vacant land, no curb and gutter in. And we see here in the parcel, you do have some platted areas in that area, but we're talking about this green strip, which is not developed yet. And then we have 30, 47, 70. Again, this is just looking onto the property without curb and gutter. And then this is the blue portion here that we're talking about, which has not been developed. And if you look at this little L-shaped road here, that's not actually in. If we look at an overhead view of that, it's a place, they put kind of a little round asphalted area to kind of cap that. So the ground around here, you can kind of see that this is what we're talking about, is this vacant land here. So as far as exemptions go, if we look at the code, they don't really meet the definition for the exemption. Just curb and gutter, in the past is what the board has decided upon.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just jump in here. So obviously what we're talking about in terms of this continuing applications, we're not saying that to deny the application. We're saying we've got questions on the 3 larger vacant parcels, just because based on our information right now, it doesn't look like that they have started the development on these parcels yet. We're not seeing any plat recorded yet. We're not seeing any curb and gutter. We're not seeing any dirt being moved as I believe Mandy or Gina went out there and took pictures just for our records. So that's what we're questioning right now, is just whether or not these have been irrevocably committed. Because with rural housing and self-help homes, their purpose is to basically act as a developer. They come in, they put in they come in and they get everything ready for homeowners to come and build, which is a great program. But in order for them to qualify for the exemption, they have to have taken steps to get that land irrevocably committed. In the past, we've seen curb and gutter, we've seen plat maps recorded, development, started, that kind of stuff. So that's what we've been looking for. So it's just our question on those 3 larger parcels is what we're asking for greater clarification. And perhaps if there hasn't been anything done, then we probably would recommend to the board, to deny the exemption on those 3.
And you're okay with personal property and their?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question with anything
No
else.
questions there. Okay.
It's just those 3 larger parcels that we're concerned about.
Any other thoughts there, Brad?
Yeah, and I'll just restate on the 3s. And so 2 of the 3 do have utilities extended into the properties, which at least what I understood last time from the tax commission, if we had any type of improvement on the property, that's what triggered the exempt. That's why we've had the exempt status. But I understand what you're saying there. The 3rd one, we don't have anything, as we're trying to work through that environmental issue, and with the city, we're kind of at a limbo on that one. And
that one is the SESD power line discussion.
No, that one is the one in Payson. That's the larger property with
Gotcha.
the big,
Yeah. Okay.
because the ash surrounding the ash property.
How long have you owned these properties?
So the Payson one we bought approximately 3 years ago. Orchard Farms, it's been a while on that one. I don't have the year. You could probably look that one up, but it's been several years from the start, because we did put in improvements for 2 phases and then built all the homes in those, and we're just finishing up the last 4 now. And I just for perspective. So when I started back in 2000, we started with 6 lots. We've now done 450 homes in Utah County, in addition to 3 other counties. So it has got, it hasn't been as easy to keep it clean all the way through, and keeping it simple as far as development, trying to negotiate all the hurdles that goes with it. But the intent is still there. A lot of the federal funds used on these properties still have requirements that we do the affordable housing program. We've had some delays in the last year, but actually have picked up. We'll have started after next month about 49 homes So anyways, 450 new taxpayers that have been low income and renters in the past. So trying to do our best on them.
Any other,
No?
any questions, Commissioner Gardner?
I have none.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve item 6, excluding 0049, 0114, and 0070.
Yeah, I'll second that motion. And just with the caveat that if we can get those 3 properties to the point that they are complying, then I think having come back, and I don't know if you do that in front of the BOE or in front of the commission this fall, but I would support that.
Adam?
Adam Beck, Utah County Attorney's Office. I know that self-help homes with other counties have come back before the commission in kind of a green folder process, and so I think that's what he was referring to before the 1347 process, and so I anticipate that we'll get an application from their office, and then you would see it again several months from now, and then you could review it not as the Board of Equalization, but as the County Commission.
Wearing another hat. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you can give me any hints, that would be really nice at some point. I do want a clarification because from the ruling that we got from the tax commission on improvements, the county in the past, even though those 2 of the 3 do have something onto the
Utilities
property,
stubbed.
utilities, yeah, stubbed into the property where the other one doesn't have anything. I just need to know, because in the past that's exempted
I
us.
think that's where we're trying to stay consistent with curb and gutter. What's your time frame for curb and gutter on those? Do you have an idea?
In the next couple of years.
Okay.
We've now that we've got other, anyways, it's just a pressure to keep those home federal funds moving, closing, meet their threshold, so we can get to some of these other things. So,
Am I misspeaking about that with curb and
and
gutter?
I guess curb and gutter, I didn't know that was now the definition. Before it was any improvements on the property.
So in the past meetings, we've talked, you've said curb and gutter. But also we're talking about stubbing to one property, not several, with the utilities. So if the goal is for self-help homes and different homes to be built, it couldn't be one home on 10 acres necessarily for one stubbing. So that's why we're talking irrevocable commitment with a plat map and curb and gutter, I guess.
Yeah, and as far as plats, to record a plat, you have to put a cash bond in, which sometimes is $3 or $4 million that has to be held. Kind of like what we're doing, or you can do the opposite, like we did in Salem Village, that we have all 100% of the improvements in, and then trying to get the plat recorded afterwards. So, anyways, we could have improvements in, but the plat's not recorded. So, careful with that definition if you're gonna use that.
Who from staff can meet with Brad maybe to make sure that there's some clarity with that?
Well, I'll just cite back to that case from December 2015. This is the case that that both of our parties went before the State Tax Commission, and in that case, they were fully improved residential building lots with utilities, storm drains, sewer, curb, gutter, sidewalk, and street. And ultimately, with that, this being kind of the precedent on it, the State Tax Commission ended up deciding the evidence presented at the initial hearing does support that construction of the residential lot had both been commenced and completed, and the lots were irrevocably committed to rural housing, low-income housing program. So, I mean, in that case, there was more than utilities. And so, yeah, that's one of the main questions here. He says there's utilities. In the case law, there was utilities, storm drains, sewer, curb, gutter, all of those things.
Okay.
Okay, I'll meet with staff. I again, just trying to follow the precedent that was set before, and I know it can change, so
Yeah.
we'll work with you on that and submit a new application. And who would you like me to work with so I can?
If you have questions,
In terms of the exemptions, obviously, Brad can work with our office, but in terms of like a green folder, then he'd be working with Adam and,
With
the
Adam
attorney's office.
and the
Because
attorney's
again,
office.
different processes. The green folder and reduction of tax is done through the commission. This is about value and exemption.
Can we defer that vote then until the next meeting so I can discuss with them and understand that? On the Payson property, I understand the two properties with utilities. I'd like to understand why that changed, so.
We do have to have a decision by May 1st, so,
Okay.
and
we
it
won't
is
have a
two
meeting by
different
then.
processes.
yeah.
So it might be best just to work through the other.
And if the
Yeah.
green folder may accomplish the same thing.
That sounds fine.
Yeah, so
and
we
I-
do have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Reach
Brad.
out to these guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Item 7, approve or deny revocation of 2025 property tax exemption for the Archaeological Conservancy.
Mandy North, Auditor's Office. They were not invited to attend the meeting. We did send a certified letter that they were being revoked. They did apply, but they didn't do a complete application. They didn't give financials that are required as to show their charity and their gift to the community. They did not apply on time, and so we contacted them and said, hey, we'll take the application. It's late today, but we'll still take it today. And she kind of threw something in there, but it was not complete. And so we kept having communication, asking for financials. She just never provided them. So then we sent the intent to revoke certified mail saying this was an incomplete application and we do intend to revoke it. And we haven't heard anything since then.
So your statement of them not being invited to the meeting, or they were?
We don't typically invite when they're just being, because they were notified of the intent to revoke, but we're not told like you can attend the meeting when you're being revoked. They do have the opportunity after the intent to revoke. They could have contacted us, and we still could have. I sent them the late application and said, hey, it was incomplete, but now you could apply late through March 31st if you want to do this late one, and they did not do that. So they did still have an opportunity to do the late appeal process and complete the application in a late format. That's where we stand.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the revocation.
Well, you'll entertain
what you're
any
thinking?
motion,
Any
but
motion, but it sounds,
yes,
but not confusing
yes,
the two, right?
yes.
Approving
Approve
it
item 7.
accepts it. So okay,
I'll second.
motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Yes, I was completely trying to sway you.
Yeah.
one way or the other. No, I'm just kidding. All right, item 8, approve or deny 2025 charity plan for IHC Health Services. Welcome. Is this one where we just have to have them show up and, okay? See if we have any questions.
No.
Okay.
If the board would like, that you can feel free to grill IHC on their charity plan and dig into the details of all their charitable contributions to the county. If I mean, that's what they're here for. If you'd
Sure,
like.
sure.
I read it.
For sake of, I'm sure Sally wants us to do that. So we're here until 8 o'clock tonight. Is that okay? I'd entertain a motion.
Now let's go line item by line item, right? No, just kidding. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I can't.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, and then item 9, annual statement for continued property tax, IHC Health Services. I don't see those serial numbers, but any questions on that from staff or comments? Issues?
No questions.
Good there? Okay, questions, commissioners? Okay.
No. I'll make a motion to approve.
I can't.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And
Aye.
item 10, new property tax exemption, IHC, personal property.
Yeah, I'm happy to speak to this. My name's Kyle Hansen. I work for Intermountain Health in Utah County over our hospital in Provo and over our geography here. believe this is a request, not a change of use, but we identified that we had been receiving a real property exemption, but not a personal property exemption for physical therapy rehabilitation service at American Fork Hospital. So it's not a change. I think it's just an identification on our part that the real property had been excluded historically.
Good.
We don't have any questions.
Okay.
Okay, motion to approve item 10.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, that passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Item 11, approve or deny 25 application for new property tax exemption for Habitat for Humanity. Hello there,
Hi, Alan Hill with Habitat.
Alan Hill. Okay. Any questions from staff on this one?
No, we don't have any questions.
Good
Just-
with what was in the packet?
And just for the board's awareness, this was continued from our last meeting, just simply because Habitat hadn't appeared.
That's
and
right.
They do, and they are required to appear for a new application, so.
Okay,
Yeah, that was
fantastic.
my fault. I didn't know.
We're meeting trying to meet the May 1st deadline, so
Motion to approve item 11.
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
Item 12, accept or deny 25 petition for property tax exemption received after the deadline for Braid's Place.
I'm Becky Oakley, the Executive Director with Braid's Place.
Hi, Becky. Okay.
We don't have any questions for them as well.
Okay. All right.
None.
Oh, and just as a clarification, you do have to approve the late first and then the exemption.
And then the,
Apologies for being,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the late
okay.
received.
Second.
We have a motion to accept the late and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 And then item 13, approve or deny the new exemption.
Make a motion to approve item number 13.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 thank you.
Thanks, Becky. Item 14, accept or deny petition for property tax exemption received after the deadline as well. Rachel Covey Foundation, DBA Brattle Up Hope. See them. Is it
Are they
required?
online?
Is there Julie Morgan online? Julie Morgan or Nicole Holgreen?
Whole green, yep, we've got
Okay.
her. And again, just clarification, this is a process of where we have to accept their application after finding the deadline, and then we can discuss their application, so.
Okay.
I'm on the call. Can you hear? This is Nicole Holgreen.
Yes, thank you, Nicole. We'll let you know if we have any questions. I think we're,
Staff have any?
you guys
So this is
The late.
on the late.
This is the late application, and so we sent you kind of what we had for them, and then after this, we can talk more about their application.
Okay.
I'm fine making a motion to accept the late application and then we can discuss the application.
Okay.
Same. I'd also like to note that the tone of their late application was not the friendliest. So for future notice, Nicole, maybe have somebody be a little more nicer in their request. And I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, so now,
Just so everyone's aware, I didn't get any communication to myself until the mailing denying. So it was going to, I believe, our accountant.
And I think the terse email probably should have gone to your accountant rather than us. But go on. Let's
Who did
discuss the
it?
application.
I think the terse email came from, I don't know that it came from me. I haven't been emailing with anyone.
Oh, okay. I guess that the application must have come from their accountant, so all we have is what's in the application. And so we've sent out voluminous emails to the accountant, and then we ended up, the revocation, the intent to revoke would have gone to the address that is also on their application, which may have been what was received by,
Okay, so that's the communication that came to me. So I do apologize if you received a curt response. It sounds like we may need to update the contact person because I was not in the loop until I received the hearing notice.
yeah. So,
Okay.
and for the board's information, it wasn't, I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Nicole.
Nicole
Nicole.
Holmgren.
It wasn't Nicole that we were communicating with. It was the other applicant. And so this would not be the person who was curt in the emails.
Oh yeah, I knew. It was
Yes, I
Julia Morgan
apologize.
or Julie Morgan.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that was the one.
I do apologize for that. So
Yeah. So if we wanted to kind of discuss, there is a little issue with the application itself. We have 2 serial numbers that have not had exempt status in the past. It's
correct.
1105300013 and then 700260002. Unfortunately, we don't have an application for those to be exempt. And since we're past the deadline, we won't be able to hear those parcels for exemption. The other parcels, though, we don't have any issue with continuing the exemption on those. Or we don't have any
Okay,
questions.
Okay.
And what, Gina?
Is
What would be
there-
the recourse to add those? Like,
Right.
Unfortunately, for the exemption process, it would be next year.
but they could do the abatement process.
Go green folder.
They could, yes, Commissioner Gordon is correct.
They could apply through our attorney's
Sorry,
office.
I couldn't hear what the options were for those 2 parcels because they are new parcels that were purchased the end of 24.
And with that, they are past the 120 days to apply for exemption as well, unfortunately. So it would be Commissioner Gordon's suggestion of going through our attorney through what's called the green folder.
And for the board's information, let me add some additional clarification, and also for Ms. Holgren's information too as well. Typically, when a new parcel is created, we can require an application, or we can waive that. We typically will waive that if the parcel's general size and basically location has not changed. But when the legal description changes significantly, basically state law says they have to go through a new application process. And that was the case. The organization purchased some additional property. They changed and basically replatted or resurveyed and combined property that had not been exempted before with existing property, which created a new legal description, a new serial number, and would require a new application. Initially, the organization supplied those serial numbers on the continuing statement. We could not consider those as part of the continuing application because they are new applications that had not been considered by the board before, and due to the communication issues, those new parcels were never included with the new application. And unfortunately, now we're past the deadlines for them to be able to apply statutorily. So yeah, if they were to seek a reduction of tax from the Board of Commissioners, that would probably be their only recourse at this point, because unfortunately, deadlines don't allow us to accept a new application for those changed parcels for 2025 at this. Yeah. Hopefully that adds some clarification.
Adam Beck,
So,
County Attorney's Office. And I just wanted to emphasize one thing that Bert just pointed out there, that going through the 1347 green folder process is not the exact same thing as going through the exemption process that she's, at least with those 2 parcels, she's too late for. But the 1347 process would allow the county commission to reduce taxes as if she was getting the exemption. She wouldn't be getting the exemption for the 2025 year, but could be have the taxes
To be
adjusted as
abated
if
in the
so.
best interest of the county.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying, Adam?
Yeah, that would be, I just wanted to make that clear that it's not the exact same process. It's, they can shoot, potentially if the board approves that 1347 application, she's going to be treated similarly tax-wise, but she won't be getting the exemption for 2025.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
And just to clarify, if she does receive that from the council, then she would still need to apply as new
For next year.
in 2026.
Yeah.
So a new application for those two parcels for 2026, and then do the 1347 application for those two parcels for the green folder, correct?
Yeah, but the green folder takes place first. You,
Do the green folder and then, okay, got it. Thank you.
yep. So
And
on
staff
this,
is fine with the current one.
the,
Yes,
yeah,
we are.
the
No
parcel
questions
numbers
on the
listed in
others.
item 15, we're all good with. Okay, so I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on item 15. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, one final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, everyone.